My girlfriend broke up with me during an argument. That same night, I slept with another woman. The next morning, my girlfriend came back and told me she hadn't meant the breakup. Now she says I betrayed her, and most of our friends agree with her. But I still don't know what I was supposed to do. My name is Daniel. I'm 23, and Andrea and I had been together for a year and 2 months. It wasn't a casual relationship. Our friends knew us as a couple, our families had met, we spent holidays together, made plans months in advance, and talked about the future as if staying together was the obvious next step. We weren't engaged, but I thought she was going to be part of my life for a long time. Then one night, we had an argument. There was no cheating, no secret relationship, and no enormous lie waiting to be exposed. I had canceled plans because I was overwhelmed with school. Andrea said I had been taking her for granted and that she was tired of always feeling like my second priority. I told her she was judging our entire relationship based on one stressful week. From there, the argument stopped being about the canceled plans. She brought up every time I had been distracted. I brought up every time she had expected me to read her mind. Neither of us was trying to solve anything. We were just waiting for our turn to say something more painful. Then Andrea's voice changed. She became completely calm. "You know what?" she said. "We're done." I honestly thought I had heard her wrong. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm done. I can't do this anymore." "Are you actually ending the relationship?" "Yes." She picked up her bag and walked out. There was no screaming in the hallway. She didn't say she needed an hour to calm down. She didn't tell me we would talk in the morning. She said we were done, confirmed that she was ending the relationship, and left. I sat on my couch staring at my phone. Part of me expected her to call before she reached her car. She didn't. So I sent her one message. "Did you really mean that?" She read it. She didn't answer. That silence was what made the breakup feel real. A few hours later, two of my friends came over. One of them had heard what happened and apparently decided I shouldn't spend the night alone. They wanted to take me out. At first, I refused. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to meet anyone. I didn't want to celebrate being single because I didn't feel single. I felt like someone had removed the floor beneath me and expected me to act normally while I was still falling. But sitting in my apartment, checking my phone every 30 seconds was making everything worse, so I went with them.
We ended up at a bar near campus. I drank more than I should have. Not because I was excited about being free. I wanted my mind to stop replaying the same words. We're done. At the bar, a woman named Camila sat beside me while she waited for her drink. She made a joke about the terrible music. I laughed and we started talking. It was completely ordinary at first. Classes, work, the crowded bar, the bartender who seemed determined to ignore us. She didn't know that I had been in a serious relationship a few hours earlier. She didn't know that I was still checking my phone every time it vibrated. And for a little while, talking to someone who knew nothing about me felt like relief. To Camila, I wasn't the boyfriend Andrea had rejected. I was just some guy at a bar. I should have told her what had happened. I should have stopped drinking. I definitely should have gone home alone. But I was drunk, hurt, and desperate to feel like I still mattered to someone. One conversation became another drink. Then we started flirting. And later that night, I went home with her. It wasn't romantic, it wasn't meaningful, and despite what Andrea later believed, it wasn't revenge. I wasn't thinking she hurt me, so now I'm going to hurt her. I wasn't thinking clearly enough to plan anything. I had just been told that the relationship I thought was permanent was over, and I grabbed the first distraction that made the pain quieter. That doesn't excuse it, but that was the truth. The next morning, I woke up in an apartment I had never seen before. For a few seconds, I didn't remember where I was. Then everything came back. The argument, Andrea leaving, the bar, Camila. My first thought was, what the hell did I do? I didn't feel free or victorious. I felt sick. I got dressed, apologized to Camila for leaving so quickly, and went home. We didn't exchange numbers. I never spoke to her again. During the entire trip back to my apartment, I kept repeating the same thing to myself. Andrea ended the relationship. She told me we were done. I asked whether she meant it, and she ignored me. Technically, I hadn't cheated, but guilt doesn't always care about technical definitions. When I reached my apartment, Andrea was waiting outside my door. Her eyes were swollen, and she looked like she hadn't slept. The second I saw her, my stomach dropped. "Can we talk?" she asked. I let her inside. We sat several feet apart on the couch. Then she apologized. "I shouldn't have said we were done," she told me. "I was angry. I wanted you to understand how serious I was, but I didn't actually want to lose you." I couldn't speak.
She said she had spent the whole night thinking about us. She didn't want one horrible argument to destroy everything we had built. She wanted to talk properly, fix the problem, and stay together. Then she looked at me more closely. "Where were you last night?" I could have lied. I could have said I slept at a friend's house. Maybe she never would have discovered the truth. But she was sitting in front of me, apologizing and asking to rebuild our relationship. I couldn't let her do that without knowing what had happened. So I told her. I didn't give her details. I simply said that I had gone to a bar, met someone, and spent the night with her. For several seconds, Andrea didn't react. Then she stood up. "You slept with someone?" "Yes." "Last night?" "Yes." "We weren't even apart for 24 hours. You told me we were done." I was angry. "You left me. I asked if you meant it and you ignored me." "So that was all it took? One argument and you immediately found someone else?" "I didn't find a replacement. I thought our relationship was over." "We were together for 14 months, Daniel." "I know. Did I mean so little to you that you could sleep with someone else the same night?" "That isn't what happened." "Then explain it to me." I tried. I told her that I'd been devastated, that I was drunk, that I hadn't planned it, that I never expected her to come back the next morning and tell me the breakup wasn't real. But every explanation sounded like an excuse. Then she said something that stayed with me. "You didn't even fight for us." "I texted you. One message. You said you didn't want to speak to me. And instead of waiting until morning, you slept with someone else. I thought you had made your decision." "No," she said. "You made yours." Then she left. That time, she really meant it. Andrea told our friends what happened, and people immediately chose sides. Her friends said I was a cheater hiding behind a technicality. They said a relationship of 14 months doesn't disappear because someone says something emotional during one argument. According to them, the speed with which I went home with another woman proved that I had never really loved Andrea. One of them said, "He showed you exactly who he was the moment he thought there would be no consequences." My friends saw it differently. They said Andrea had explicitly ended the relationship. I had asked whether she meant it, and she had chosen not to answer. One friend told me, "She can't break up with you, disappear, and still expect you to follow relationship rules she just canceled." Another said, "If she didn't want to lose you, she shouldn't have used a breakup as a weapon." The problem was that neither side made me feel better. I didn't believe I had cheated, but I also understood why Andrea felt betrayed. I could have waited until morning. I could have gone home. I could have accepted that I was hurt without immediately doing something reckless to escape the feeling. Instead, I made a decision that destroyed any chance of repairing the relationship. Months later, Andrea agreed to meet me one final time. I told her the truth. It didn't happen because I stopped loving you. It happened because I thought I had already lost you. She looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "That's what hurts the most. When you thought you had lost me, you didn't fight for me. You replaced me." "I didn't replace you. You went home with someone else. She meant nothing to me. That doesn't make it better." I told her there had been no emotional connection, no second meeting, not even another conversation. But Andrea said that made it worse. "You destroyed us for someone who meant nothing?" I didn't have an answer. Andrea believes loyalty doesn't disappear the second someone says we are done. She believes that after 14 months together, love should have made me wait longer than a few hours. I believe that when someone looks you in the face, ends the relationship, and then ignores you when you ask whether they are serious, you have to believe them. I made a terrible decision, but was it betrayal? Or was it a reckless decision made by a single man who genuinely believed his relationship had ended? And be honest,
If your partner tells you, "We're done," are you still obligated to wait in case they change their mind? Or does the relationship end the moment they choose to walk away? Drop your verdict in the comments. And for more stories like this, visit my channel.